Wealth has always been the most misunderstood form of power. From ancient empires to modern markets, humans have measured success by how much they could own, not by what their wealth could truly withstand. Yet history whispers a warning. What glitters often fades the fastest. The Roman elite flaunted estates and gold coins, but when inflation struck and trust in currency collapsed, their fortunes vanished overnight. The same story repeated centuries later. In France before the Revolution, in 1920s America before the crash, and even in the digital booms of recent years. Wealth can be created, but value must be earned. Reports from economic historians suggest that societies often crumble not because they run out of money, but because they forget what money stands for: trust, productivity, and shared belief. When a nation starts printing wealth without creating real value, the clock starts ticking toward collapse. Today we see echoes of this in inflated markets, unsustainable debt, and currencies untethered from tangible worth. The question is no longer how much you have, but how much of it would survive if the system suddenly shifted. Because true wealth is silent, steady, and patient, while false wealth is loud, fast, and fragile. Value has never just been about gold or numbers in a ledger. It has always been about trust, the invisible force that keeps markets alive long after the coins are gone. Ancient Egypt's grain reserves, for example, weren't only food. They were a currency of faith in stability. Reports suggest that during times of drought, these stores held the kingdom together, more powerful than any treasure hoard. Centuries later, the same principle fueled Florence's rise during the Renaissance, a city with little land or metal, but immense trust in its merchants and banks. True value, history shows, grows in the shadows of crisis. When paper currencies failed, people turned to skill, reputation, and adaptability. In post-war Japan, craftsmen who could rebuild faster than governments became the backbone of an economic miracle. After the 2008 financial crash, innovators who built real solutions, not speculation, defined the new digital economy. Each age reveals the same truth. Value isn't stored, it's demonstrated. You can't mint it, print it, or fake it for long. Nations that forget this fall, those that remember it, thrive. The line between wealth and value is thin but crucial. Wealth can be taken, taxed, or inflated away, but value, once built, survives every collapse. Wealth is meant to provide freedom, yet in every era it quietly becomes a cage. The Romans learned it first. Their empire's expansion was fueled by treasure, but as gold poured in from conquered lands, productivity fell. Citizens abandoned trade for luxury. Innovation gave way to indulgence. Reports from ancient economic records indicate that by the 3rd century, Rome's wealth was so concentrated in the elite that common citizens struggled to afford daily goods. The empire wasn't poor. It was drowning in hollow abundance. Fast forward to the Gilded Age of the 19th century. Industrialists and financiers amassed fortunes so vast they could shape entire nations. Yet their empires rose and fell with the same fragility. Some historians suggest that this era's obsession with visible wealth, steel, railroads, speculation, created bubbles that burst into economic depression. When wealth grows faster than value, collapse becomes inevitable. Even in our own time, the pattern repeats. Modern markets reward appearances, valuations, assets, influence. But behind every boom lies the same danger, confusing price with worth. Digital millionaires, real estate magnates, even global corporations have learned that wealth built on perception can vanish with a single shift in confidence. Psychologists note that individuals experience this too. The more we define success by possessions, the more fragile our sense of security becomes. The mind starts guarding what it owns instead of growing what it's capable of creating. True value, skill, integrity, resilience, requires no defense. In the end, wealth can either serve you or enslave you. The moment it becomes your identity, it begins to own you instead. Today's financial world mirrors the same paradox that toppled empires, an abundance of wealth, but a shortage of value. Trillions move through global markets each day, yet much of it exists only as digital signals, assets that rise and fall at the speed of emotion. Reports suggest that nearly 90% of global money supply is now digital, untethered from physical reserves. That means trust, not metal, holds the system together. In such a landscape, the difference between wealth and value becomes even sharper. A trending stock, a viral cryptocurrency, or a speculative NFT can make someone rich overnight. But history warns that what rises fast often falls faster. When confidence breaks, zeros on screens mean nothing. Yet this era also offers opportunity. Real value still grows quietly, in companies solving real problems, in individuals who keep learning, and in communities that trade trust rather than hype. Economists often say that innovation and adaptability are the new gold, resources that appreciate even when currencies collapse. The digital age hasn't changed the rules, it's just stripped away the illusion. When money can vanish with a power outage, the only real security lies in what cannot be deleted: your skills, your reputation, and your understanding of how systems behave when others panic. Every civilization that rose to greatness eventually faced the same test. What happens when wealth outgrows value? The result was always predictable. When gold, land, or currency became more important than the integrity that created them, collapse followed. Reports from the late stages of empires, from Rome to the Ming dynasty, described the same symptoms: corruption, speculation, and the slow decay of trust. The foundation of prosperity is never the metal in the treasury, but the principles guiding how it's used. Modern societies face that same mirror. Today, wealth can be accumulated in clicks, but real value still demands time, patience, and discipline. People chase numbers on screens while undervaluing health, purpose, and the relationships that form the true fabric of wealth. The race to appear rich often overshadows the effort to become valuable. Yet when crises come, and they always do, appearances shatter first. What remains are the things money can't counterfeit: reputation, adaptability, and the ability to create again from nothing. So what truly makes someone rich? It's not ownership, but endurance. Not how much you can spend, but how much you can withstand when the tide turns. The wealthiest figures in history, from merchants rebuilding after wars to innovators rising from recessions, understood this unspoken rule: money follows value, not the other way around. And as we move deeper into an uncertain financial era, the question isn't whether you have enough wealth, but whether you've built enough value to survive when wealth disappears. If this gave you a new way to think about money and resilience, subscribe for more lessons where history and finance meet insight. Because wealth fades, but wisdom, once earned, compounds forever.